Good morning, yogis. Welcome to this Thursday morning practice. We've got glorious sunlight here today, and this practice is an exploration of spinal twists for the therapeutic application in scoliosis. So scoliosis is an S curve of the spine. So up the body, the spine curves slightly to either side, which is outside of the more natural alignment. Lots of people have a mild scoliosis, and some people have one that is more pronounced. So this is really aimed at a mild-ish scoliosis. And if you would like some advice on a more pronounced scoliosis, that would generally involve a one-to-one. So do ask your yoga teacher for that. So let's come into a standing position to begin this practice together. We'll have our feet nice and wide apart, a little softness in the knees, and then lifting tall through the spine, twisting to either side. So it's a gentle twist to begin our day. And here we want to have a little bit of effort in the buttocks, so the buttocks are a little bit active here, and in the pelvic floor muscles, perhaps just a touch, definitely in the abdominal muscles. So imagining that you're drawing your belly button towards your spine with a touch of a lift in the center as well. Allow your head to follow your movement, your arms to be heavy and loose, wrapping the body, perhaps tapping the body as you twist from side to side. The spine twists most readily when it is lengthened. And twisting is the most therapeutic of the spinal movements that we can do for scoliosis. It helps to balance the muscular effort down the spine. Just keep twisting. Explore how it feels in your body. Explore where you're feeling the twist the most. So perhaps you feel the spine is twisting the most in the waist, perhaps, or the shoulders, maybe for you. Maybe you can feel the muscular effort down either side of the body and across the abdomen and the back. And then when you're ready, you can gently free your feet, so you pivot on your toes as well. If that feels like it's just a little bit unbalancing, then you don't have to do that. And if anything affects your knees or your hips, again, just taking a previous option or resting out your practice. Here we're going to add a little bend of the knees in the center, so dip and twist. And perhaps you want to touch the opposite shoulder in front of you and the opposite hip behind you with your hands, letting them be away from the body in between. Here there's no twist in the neck. The head is centered over the chest all of the time. We're gently going to let our bounce go, keep pivoting on the toes. And then bring our feet to stillness and gently allow the body to sway back to steadiness. A little at a time. Find myself off center now, so I'm going to center myself again. So let's do a few shoulder rolls. So just gently rolling the shoulders while we talk about how yoga feels. So yoga hopefully never causes you any pain, but you might carry some discomfort with you. So in our practice, we watch for those feelings of discomfort. Let's reverse our shoulder rolls. And if if that discomfort becomes worse, then we want to rest out of that practice. Perhaps that practice doesn't suit us so well. It might be that we're pushing too hard or our alignment's wrong. It's really important to go gently and carefully, noticing how your body feels. Bring your shoulders to stillness. We'll take our arms wide, place the fingertips on top of the shoulders, and make big circles with the elbows. So a little bit of effort in those tummy muscles just to provide stability. Making your shoulder circles, or your elbow circles rather, as large as feels comfortable. You might want to start small and build up to big, or you might feel that you can make the fullest possible circle straight away. Let's go the opposite way. Now, we don't need to make any particular shape. You don't have to make your body look exactly the same as the shapes you see in the book or on videos. The important thing is that it feels good when you practice. We'll do one more in this direction and release the arms down. Anytime you need to jiggle or wiggle, you can release in that way. Okay, so twisting is, as I said, quite therapeutic for scoliosis. And that's because if you have an S-curve of the spine, you tend to have muscles on one side of the S-curve doing something slightly different from the other. So you might have muscles in contraction on one side and in extension in length on the other. And that can cause us to be uncomfortable in our bodies. And twisting helps to balance that. So today we're going to practice lots of movements that involve twisting. And it might be that you don't want to do all of them at the same time on a daily basis. But for one practice, it won't hurt. And what we will do is at the end of the practice, you'll know which movements perhaps had the most benefit for you, and you can use those in your daily life. The first one we're going to do involves a wall. So if you have a wall handy, that would be great. We're going to use a chair a little bit later on, but you can stop the video at any time to maneuver and get equipment. So if you come to face a wall and bring yourself towards it, place your hands at about chest height or shoulder height, and facing the wall with both feet pointing in the direction of the wall and shoulders down. So we don't want to hunch the shoulders up to the ears. Here, keep your hands on the wall and then gently walk your feet to one side. So you're twisting your body almost right angle if you can to the wall, turning through 90 degrees. And allow your head to be wherever it's comfortable. So if you want to turn your head a little further away from the wall, you can, but it's not necessary. You can keep your head over your chest if you'd like. Here we can actually use our effort, so we can press into the wall to turn our chests away from the wall. A little bit more if you'd like to. But try to keep your feet pointing in the same direction and your hips gently coming towards that direction as well. We don't want to lean onto the wall. The wall's not supporting our weight. It is just there for us to give us a little bit of traction, a little bit of leverage to move into this gentle twist. And here we take a couple of deep breaths. And then return to the center. So allowing the feet to gently walk a little at a time back to the center. And perhaps in between, dropping the hands from the wall, rolling the shoulders a little, just to release any tension. And then we'll place our hands back on the wall and walk our feet in the opposite direction. You might find that one direction is more effort than another, or it feels better than another, and that's okay. Just observing. It will very rarely feel the same on both sides, but that observation can tell us things about our bodies. So in your posture, using a little bit more leverage from the wall if you'd like, turning your head a little bit more if you'd like, you can take a couple of deep breaths. Just check you haven't got your shoulders hunched up towards your ears. And check that where you are feels okay, feels comfortable. You could be here a little while. Doesn't feel like a strain. might feel like a stretch or a release. And then when you're ready, turning to face back towards the wall, just a little bit slowly, gently releasing, rolling the shoulders, coming back into your, away from the wall, the yoga space, and just releasing anything that needs releasing. And then observing how it feels down both sides of your back. Perhaps you also have some releasing feelings across the chest. But for me, I feel it inside the shoulder blades, down either side of the spine. And it feels much more released on my right side than my left. And it doesn't matter how it feels, as long as it feels something, okay? So we can do something very similar with a chair, and I'm going to do the chair variation now before we come down onto the mat. So with your chair, you're going to actually sit on it, on the side of the chair, rather than on the front of the chair, on the side of your chair, so that you have the chair back on your side. In this case, it's on my left side. So we're going to sit really, really tall. Think about that sense of lift. When we're standing, it's easier to have that sense of lift, but when we're sitting, we tend to slump a little bit forwards. So firming the belly muscles, maybe a little bit of lift in the pelvic floor, allow your chest to be open, shoulders to be back. Sense of a lift through the back of the neck and making the crown of the head as high up towards the sky as possible. Here we're going to use our arms a little bit more. So breathing in as you take your arms up, doesn't matter where they get to, just up in general. And then as you breathe out, twist towards the back of the chair. Take the hand that's closest to the chair back behind you, hold the back of the chair, and the hand that's furthest away from the chair can come around to hold the side of the chair that's nearest to your chest. Here we're going to again feel that sense of lift, that sense of growing tall and activation in the core, and then we can gently use the effort of our hands to move a little bit into this twist. Now it should be noted that it is to feel comfortable. So if it doesn't feel comfortable, don't go so far. Do a little bit of a more gentle twist. Maybe you only twist towards the front side of your chair back. Wherever you get to, checking again, you haven't hunched the shoulders because that shows tension in the body. We want to draw the shoulder blades down the back to create that length down either side of the neck, across the shoulders. Perhaps you can feel this twist a little bit more across your abdomen. And you can turn your head if it feels comfortable. You don't have to. You can keep looking in any direction that the neck feels comfortable. When you get there, taking a few deep breaths. And then noticing what's happened with your knees, with your hips. So you might notice that you've got one knee in front of the other. That means your hips have turned as well. And that's not wrong, it just that means that the twist in the spine is less twisty, it's less effective. But sometimes you need that little movement in the hips for it to be comfortable in the low back. So that's okay, but be aware of it. To come out, let's turn to the front with the head first, then release the hands away from the chair, take them wide, breathe in, reaching up as you turn back to the center, and breathe out as you reach the arms down. Very good. A little gentle wiggle of the shoulders. And we'll stand up as well to release. So in between our twists, it's really nice to counter that twisting movement with a different movement of the spine. And in this case, we're going to do a forward bend, but it's a down facing dog forward bend, and we're going to use the chair to do that. So with your hands on the back of your chair, walk your feet away, have them about hip or shoulder width apart, something like that, not too close together. Bend your knees deeply and let your tailbone come back behind you as you draw your torso towards the floor. Here we're lifting the belly muscles up quite firmly, If you're able to open your shoulders to get the head between the upper arms, then ears between the upper arms is good. Try to avoid letting your head come down below that. If it's above there, it's no problem at all. That's just to do with flexibility in the shoulders, or how your shoulders are made. And you can make your knees as bendy as you need to for this to be comfortable. We want to avoid strain in the low back. And here, with all of that active, just maybe swaying your hips from side to side, like you were wagging a tail, but with the whole of your low body from the waist downwards. Very good. And that's a really nice way to ease out tension from the sides of the body and the muscles that support the sides of the spine. Coming back to the center, look towards your chair, just lifting your chest a little. You can press into the chair, walk towards your chair, and take a moment here. Hold onto your chair for as long as you need to avoid that sort of dizzy feeling that some folks get. Just take a couple of deep breaths, and when you're ready, you can turn your chair to the opposite side, or I have to do that, but you probably can just swivel around in your seat and come to sitting on the opposite side for our twist in this direction. So again, sitting really tall, activating the abdominal muscles, the pelvic floor, thinking about keeping the chest open and the neck long, the head lifted. And here it's worth noting where the head is. If your head is slightly in front of your body, you'll feel strain or effort in the muscles in the back of the upper back. And if you bring your head over your body, it's suddenly a much lighter weight for the body to hold in its center. We'll breathe in, reach the arms forward and up. And as you breathe out, turn towards the back of the chair, reaching your back hand backwards, your front hand towards the front part of your chair back. Here we can use the hands in any way, so it doesn't matter which part of the chair you're holding. Lifting into our crowns again, lifting the spine long, and gently moving into the twist with a little bit of help from the chair. Find a comfortable position for your head. Relax your shoulders down. Keep your belly muscles working. It might feel that that contains your breath a little, but that's okay. Breathing against this muscular effort down the sides of the torso will improve your respiratory strength. It's actually therapeutic for asthma as well, this posture. So here, maybe just noticing what's happened with your knees and your hips. You don't have to keep your hips square to the front. Just notice if perhaps on this side, my knees moved a little bit more because my hips are stiffer on this side for my twist. And then maybe we'll just take 2 more deep breaths. Relax the features of your face. If you find that difficult, just have a gentle smile going on. And then to release, turning your head to face the front first, then releasing the hands, reaching the arms out and up as you twist yourself back to center and reach the arms down to the side. Excellent work. So twisting with the chair is quite nice. It can be done this is quite a strong twist with a chair. It can be done in a more gentle way by sitting towards the front of your seat. And then if I'm twisting to my left here, taking the right hand to the left side of the body and reaching the left hand behind. And this is a more gentle twist than the one that we've done. But it still requires us to sit upright, but there's no leverage to make extra movement in our twist there. Or there's less leverage, I should say. Super duper. So if you want to do a more gentle kind of twist with the chair, check out the chair yoga videos rather, because they all have that twist in them. Okay, so now we've done that twist to both sides. Hopefully you notice how it feels down the body. We can come down now to the floor to do a little bit of gentle twisting lying down. So just ease your way down to the mat. You can hug your legs in towards you and roll yourself down, which is a really nice way to massage the back at the same time. We're going to let the feet come to the floor, and here we don't need to keep the low back pressed into the mat in the same way as you do in Pilates, but perhaps just have that sense of connecting the low back downwards without making too much effort. We're going to start by drawing the knees into the chest and giving ourselves a little bit of a shimmer from side to side. So we want to massage out any tension that we're holding in the back of the body. So you can make nice circles with your knees in both directions. It's a really lovely thing to do. And then Apanasana, this posture, we can hold the knees towards the body, and I like to lengthen the back of the neck here, drop the shoulders towards the mat, and then gently turn my head from side to side. And that's a really lovely way to release tension from the neck and the shoulders as well. You can do that as many times as feels comfortable. 2 or 3 usually does it for me. And then from here, just holding one leg as you take the opposite foot to the floor, and then firming your belly muscles as you take your second foot to the floor. We want our feet to be hip width apart. So if you bring the feet absolutely together, keep the toes together and step your heels apart, and then step your toes out to be in front of your heels so your feet are straight. That will find you at about hip width apart. And we're going to begin with the legs this distance apart, and the arms can be out to the sides if that feels comfortable. Generally, you don't want them to be really, really high because that gives a different position of the spine, but some people find that quite comfy. So out to the side or slightly lower than just directly out at shoulder height is good. And here, we're going to firm our belly muscles really strongly and the pelvic floor as well. And then just begin to sway the knees a little from side to side. So we're not looking to go all the way towards the floor. It's a gentle sway. Gentle sway from side to side. And really keeping that firmness across the abdominal muscles at the same time. We can maybe increase that range of movement a little. So slowing it down as well to feel that control so that the knees aren't flopping around, the movement's controlled all the way up and all the way over. And then progressing maybe just a touch further. We're rolling on the feet here. I call this the windscreen wiper twist because one knee goes to the side, one knee goes forward. It's a little bit like the action of windscreen wipers. And we want the shoulders to be quite passive, the upper body quite passive in this particular twist. So this is a variation of Jathara Parivriti, the supine spinal twist. There's no Sanskrit test, it's just in case you need them for future reference. And just keeping going from side to side, really nice and steady. Nice and gentle, not forcing anything. If your knees don't come all the way down, that doesn't matter, as long as you've got that control to lift and stabilize that movement in and out. I use Sanskrit because many years ago when I came to do my yoga teacher training, the Swami I trained with used the Sanskrit names exclusively, and if my teacher had never told me them, I would have been completely lost. It was hard enough as it was. So there we are. Over the years, lots and lots of people who've I've had the honour of teaching have gone on to become teachers as well. So this is a paying it forward kind of affair. Let's do one more twist to each side to finish in the center. That's me. And when you finish in the center, just taking a moment to notice how your body feels. This type of twisting is about releasing tension. So it's about progressively lengthening and contracting those muscles that help us across our core and down the sides of our spine to release tension that we've accumulated there through our postural positions, or in the case of scoliosis, in the alignment of our spine, the particular individual alignment of our spine. So we're going to bring the knees into the chest in between and just do a little bit more of that stirring of the knees. If you prefer, you can just go straight in and out. That's okay too. Doing whatever feels good. And if you'd like to, you can hold the knees towards you and again, drop the shoulders towards the floor and turn the head from side to side. And then we're going to take the knees down one at a time again, the feet, sorry, down one at a time. And bring the knees together this time. So almost as if you had pinned or strapped your knees and your feet and your ankles together. We're going to firm the belly in the pelvic floor again and start again with this little twisting. So to begin with, just a really gentle twist to either side. As you twist to your left, your right foot will come off the floor because the feet are together. And as you twist to your left, right, the opposite way, the opposite happens. I always get my lefts and rights muddled. Okay, so once you've done a few sways to each side, you can allow the knees to come a little bit deeper down. Again, with great control, keeping the shoulder that you're moving away from towards the floor. So if your knees are coming to the left, keeping your right shoulder towards the floor. It might lift a little, that's okay. It might shift a little, that's okay. But don't allow the opposite side of the body to roll with you. Good stuff. And you don't need to get all the way down to the floor, but you can if you want to, if that space is available to you. We're going to add an element here as well. So as your knees come to your right side, look towards your left hand. So your head moves too. And then bring your head back to center as your knees come to center. And then as your knees go to the left, looking to the right hand. So let's just practice this movement for a few rounds, then we'll add a breath as well. Very good. So now we're going to breathe in the center. Breathe out as we twist, firm in the belly, firm in the pelvic floor, head and knees in opposite directions. Breathe in back to the center, and then breathe out as we twist to the opposite side. So breathing into center, breathing out as you twist, as you move. Breathing into the center, and breathing out as you move. Use this as an opportunity, keep going, to slow your breath down, slow your movement down as well. We'll do one more to each side. Finishing back in the center. And we're going to do, there are lots of variations of this twist, but we're going to do just one more today. So for this one, lengthen your left leg away from you and draw your right knee into your chest and hold it with your left hand. You're going to firm the belly and very gently roll the right knee over towards the left side of the body, trying to keep the right shoulder onto the floor. Now, if it's helpful, have something for your foot to rest on, you can rest your foot on your left thigh. Or if it reaches the floor, then you can rest your foot towards the floor. If you feel like you're really far away from the floor, then a couple of cushions underneath your leg to support your knee, or a couple of blocks, if you've got yoga blocks, will be quite good. And just finding a comfortable spot. So I actually prefer to hook my foot around my long leg. So here we're looking towards the right hand, right knee across to the left side of the body. Right shoulder really relaxed. If you feel like you're hanging in midair, using some support underneath your body, closing your eyes. If you feel comfortable, or gaze at one point. Just taking some deep breaths. And as you're holding, trying to soften the features of the face, relax the effort in the body. Here we don't need to stabilize the movement with the abdominal muscles so strongly. You can keep a little bit of effort if it feels better that way. Trying to release as much of that control that got you into the posture so that you can just experience being in it without control, without over control. There we go. Now, because we've held this posture for a little while, and you can hold it for up to 3 minutes. We've held it for about a minute. So once we've held it for a little while, the way we come out is really important. So to come out of the posture, you need that abdominal control switched on for sure, really strong. And we're going to take the head to center first, and then really slowly unwind with great control. We've practiced that with our dynamic movements. Unwind, coming back to the center. When your right foot comes to the floor, you can bend your left knee in as well so that you are in a neutral position with your spine, resting your arms down by your side, and just take a moment to observe the difference between the left and the right side of the body. If you need to, if you feel like you've got something to release, which is often the way after we've held a posture for a little while, things come up, things in our energy, then you can take a deep breath in, sigh out through your mouth. And let it go. And you can do that as many times as you like, but in general in yoga, we breathe through our noses. But on occasion, when we need to release, it's nice to do it that way. And we're going to lengthen the right leg, work to the opposite side. So bending the left knee into the chest, taking the left arm out towards the left side, holding the left knee with the right hand, really firm in the belly and the buttocks, and we're going to roll, belly and pelvic floor. We're going to roll the left knee over to the right side of the body. And as I said, you can hook your foot around. You might find that your left foot comes all the way to the floor. That's fine. You might want something underneath your knee for a little bit of support. Or I just like to hook here. It feels like it's an easier thing for me. We want to keep the left shoulder towards the floor. Doesn't matter if it lifts a little, but we want to feel like we've stabilized the body as it twists. And then turning the head to the left helps. Sometimes moving your left hand down towards your hip will also help your shoulder to settle towards the floor. When you get into your pose, trying to release as much of the effort that got you there as possible whilst feeling stable. Closing your eyes or gazing gently downward. And taking some long, deep breaths. Perhaps you're aware of some extra space down your torso that you can breathe into. And you don't need to press down with your top hand to create the twist. Once you're there, this hand can be very passive. If you prefer it pressed down, that's okay too. Try to relax your face, your shoulders, your legs. If you're managing to do a long, deep breath, holding for about 5 to 10 breaths. That will give you a good minute, minute and a half. To release out, really firming those belly muscles again, bringing your head back to center, keeping the belly firm, and really gently, slowly unwinding from your posture. Taking your left foot to the floor, bending your right knee in as well. And then just taking a moment with the spine more neutrally aligned to observe the difference between the two sides of the body. Observe where you feel the effect of that release. And if you need to, you can take a few deep breaths and sigh out anything that's come up, just letting it go. Now, although it seems counterintuitive, letting your knees sway from side to side can release any tension that you've held onto coming out of those postures. Very good. So on these poses, let's bend our knees into the chest, hug them towards us a little. On these poses, we have mostly focused on the twist being in the lower part of the body, lower parts of the spine. And so we're going to do something called the universal twist, which will help to balance that by working more in the upper body. So actually for this, it might be useful to have a little block. I'm going to take my head towards my knees and roll up to get one. If you don't have a block, a cushion is good, or a sturdy book helps. We're going to lie on our sides with the block underneath your head, just to keep your neck feeling comfy. And we're going to lie with the knees one on top of the other and in front of us, or you can lie with one leg long, recovery position, that's okay as well. So in fact, I might prefer that, yeah, for sure. So choosing the posture that makes the most sense for you. We don't really want to fall too much towards the floor, so trying to stack the hips one on top of the other a little bit, and the shoulders one on top of the other. We're going to start with our hands out in front of us. The lower arm is quite relaxed. The top arm is going to be lengthening. Little stability in the core here. And we're going to draw circles with the fingers of the top arm up and over the head, reaching around behind us. If the hand leaves the floor, that's okay. And gently coming back to center. Okay, back to where we started. So we're only going to go in this direction. We're only going to go forward and up. And the idea is that we lengthen our arms and open that space underneath the shoulders. You just want to go around nice and slowly, still stable in the upper body. Not necessarily rolling the head away from the block, but not forcing it to stay down either. As you go around, you'll find that your shoulders open, you release some tension, maybe you can get a little bit closer to the floor. That's the third time round, my fingertips now on the floor all of the time. But they don't have to be. So we do find places where it's too intense to keep contact with the floor. And in those places, just releasing your hand away from the floor as much as you need to make the circle. Good stuff. So now we've done 4, or maybe you have done more, that's okay. We're going to do one really, really slowly. We're going to feel where those intense places are in our twist and then work with them a little bit. So, squaring ourselves up again, one hand on top of the other, shoulders nice and square, head nice and relaxed. As we take the top hand and run it all the way up and over the head, just find that first place of tension. So for me, that first place of tension that I feel just a little bit intense in the shoulder or in the muscles around it is around about my ear. And it might be in front of the ear for you, it's no problem. So when I get to there, that actually is verging on feeling uncomfortable, to the point where I would think, ooh, I'll just go there and then I'll come back the way. That would be much easier. So here I'm going to create a little bit of stability with my core muscles. And then I'm going to breathe in and stretch that top arm that's working in the twist as far away from my head as I can. And as I breathe out, I'm just going to see if it will soften backwards a little bit, and it does. Lovely. I reach the next spot, which is only a couple of centimeters further into this circle. Breathe in and reach. And breathe out and just see if I've got a space to move. I do, a couple more centimeters. Lovely. Breathe in and stretch. Breathe out and gently move. Yeah, this one's a bit more tough. Breathe in and stretch. Breathe out. Ooh, I might need to do that one more time there. Breathe in and stretch. Breathe out and soften through. Very nice. And you might need to do it a few more times. I've just reached the end of where I feel tension on that circle. And so I come all the way back to the start, and then I can do one more like that. So squaring the shoulders, keeping that little touch of effort in the abdominal region. And this time as I come round, that first place of tension's moved, it's further behind me now. So I breathe in and stretch, and breathe out, and just see if there's a space to move into. Breathe in and lengthen, and breathe out, see if I can move into that space. Breathe in, lengthen, breathe out, maybe a centimeter more. Breathe in, lengthen, breathe out, and that's gone past all of that tension, all of that place where it's really intense, and coming back to the center. And so in the center, I'm going to just release the block from underneath my head, roll onto my back, and take a moment with my feet on the floor and arms relaxed by the side to feel the difference between the two sides of the body. And I might need to breathe out through my mouth. That helps me to relax my chest, my throat, my face, and release anything that's come up. Great stuff. Let's go to the opposite side. So I'm going to face away from you guys. Sorry about that. And you can take the recovery position or one knee on top of the other, whichever you prefer. I'm trying to stack the shoulders a little bit and checking that the placement of your block is quite comfy. So to begin with, we're reaching, it's now the top hand on the opposite side, reaching that top hand up in front of the face, over the head, around behind the body. Maybe the hand leaves the floor at some point during this twist, and coming back to center. We don't roll the head away from the direction that it's in. We're going to do 3 more using a little bit of abdominal control and just exploring the openness that we naturally have. Once we've done 2 or 3 of these, we get a little bit more openness. The shoulder is the most mobile joint in the body. And it's important not to overdo it with your shoulders because it is so mobile. There we are, fingers all up, down, all the way around. But they don't have to be, that's not a necessary part of the posture. So let's come to our 2 slow rounds. So with the hands one on top of the other, we're going to draw the top hand up, a little bit of tummy control to wherever we feel the tension. So here, it's a little bit further forward on this side. I've injured this shoulder a few times. So not doing yoga, I have to point out. So here I'm going to breathe in as I lengthen and breathe out. Just see if I've got room to move. Yes, a few centimeters. Breathe in, lengthen. Breathing out, see if I've got room to move. Breathe in, lengthen. Breathe out. Oh, I might need to do that one again. Breathe in, lengthen. Breathe out, room to move. Nice. Breathe in, lengthen. Breathing out. Maybe your breath is slower, that's okay. Breathe in, lengthen. Breathe out. And that's it. All the way around. If you need more time working through your tense areas, you can take more time for sure. And then coming back to center and doing one more round like that. So we don't want to overdo it, we're just doing enough to feel that openness. And maybe this time our place of first tension has moved, hopefully. So when you get to it, lengthening as you breathe in, and just gently moving as you breathe out. Lengthening as you breathe in, and moving as you breathe out. Lengthen, and exhale into that space. Release into that space. Lengthen. Exhale into that space. Maybe one more. Lengthen. And move into that space. And then coming all the way back around. Finishing with the hands one on top of the other. Moving really gently. And to come out, this time we're going to come to lie on our tummies. So moving your block. And just bringing yourself to, you can make a pillow out of your hands. Put your forehead on your pillow, turn the toes towards each other, they don't have to touch. Let your heels come out to the side. Now, if it doesn't feel comfortable to have a pillow under your head, your hands under your head, you can turn your head to one side, maybe that's a bit more comfy. Or you can take your arms down by your side and let your shoulders flop towards the floor as you turn your head to one side, ear towards the floor. So whichever of these postures feels comfortable, sometimes this one with the arms down by the sides feels better after all of that lengthening and opening under the shoulder. But wherever you are, just taking a moment to breathe deeply, really relaxing the tummy muscles. So no control in the tummy, no control in the buttocks here either. And just letting that breath as you breathe deeply in, bob your low back up and down. If you have your head turned to one side, you can turn it to the opposite side, regardless of whether it's on the floor or on your hands. Then we're going to bring our heads back to the center. We're going to bring our thighs towards each other and press the pubic bone down by activating the buttock muscles and taking the hands a little bit wider than your mat, but about shoulder height. As you do that, draw your shoulder blades down your back and elbows towards your body to feel that sort of stability in the top part of your torso. Firm your belly muscles, and as you inhale, just looking slightly forward, pressing into your hands. And here we've got a wide cobra. So the elbows are wide but still bent and softening towards the torso. Imagine that you have a light in the center of your chest that you're shining forwards, and you can look perhaps to the end of your mat. We can go up and down, so gently releasing down, keeping that active buttocks, active abdominal muscles, breathing in as you gently press away from the mat, just with your chest, still keeping your abdomen down, and breathing out as you come back down to the mat. So firm buttocks, that's the important thing. Breathing in, pressing up, space between the shoulder blades working, opening the chest, breathing out and down. This time we're going to do a little twist as well. So breathing in as you come up, firm belly, firm buttocks. Breathing out, just gently looking towards one side. Doesn't matter, perhaps sometimes dropping your opposite shoulder forwards. Breathing in into the center and up, and breathing out to the opposite side. Breathing into the center, firm belly, firm buttocks. Breathing out, coming back down to the mat. Now, if you'd like to do a little bit more of a back bend than that, you can bring your hands down towards your chest or your waist, or if you want to do a little bit less, you can have them a little bit further forward. So firm belly, firm buttocks, rolling the shoulder blades towards each other, breathing in, coming up one more time, breathing out as you twist to one side, breathing in back to the center, and breathing out, twisting to the opposite side. Breathing in back to the center, and breathing out as you release down. And then taking a rest, making a pillow out of your hands if that suits you, toes towards each other, heels apart, the thighs perhaps falling apart now as well. Taking a couple of deep breaths, really relaxing the shoulders, the belly muscles, the buttock muscles. And if you need to, if something comes up, sigh it out. Lovely job. Now, if that particular practice was a little intense or a little bit too much of upper body strength, you can do a very similar thing by taking the forearms to the floor and the elbows towards the body. And this is called the Sphinx pose, and it's not a variation of the Cobra pose, but it is a separate pose in itself. And you can hold the Sphinx pose usually for a little bit longer to get the therapeutic effect of back bending. Still with a little bit of firmness in the buttocks and the belly muscles, and staring ahead, or looking ahead rather, but keeping the shoulders down and the chest open. But for now, we're going to release ourselves down to the mat, take the hands underneath the shoulders, curl the toes under, press up onto hands and knees, then come back into child's pose. So we're going to take the buttocks towards the heels. You can leave the hands where they were to get a nice stretch along the underneath of the arms, sides of the body. And if you'd like to, you can also turn the palms upwards to get a really nice stretch across the shoulders as well. A couple of deep breaths here. If you prefer to have your arms down by your side, you can. And if you prefer to have your knees further apart, feet together, to make a bit more space for your body, you can do that too. When you're ready, just coming up onto your hands and knees, turning your palms back to the floor. And I'm just going to turn myself around because I'm pointing in the wrong direction for our next practice. Okay, so at this point, perhaps rolling the shoulders, just taking a moment to release anything that needs releasing. We're working slowly and gently through these postures today, But remember, you don't have to do them all at once. I'm doing them all at once to fit them into the one video, but you can stop at any stage, or you can, once you've done them through, perhaps you like one particular set better than another, and you can fast forward to those when you're watching. Okay, so we're going to do some twisting from downward dog and stepping into lunges. I think this would be quite a nice thing to do as well. So we're going to come into downward dog first. If you're not familiar with downward dog, then I'll talk you briefly through it. And if you are, you can pop up and give yourself a little bit of a shimmer, a little bit of walking the dog. So we're going to start with our hands underneath our shoulders, or slightly in front. If it's a little bit kinder to the wrist to have them slightly in front. And knees around about underneath the hips. It's not necessary to be too formal with your setup for that. Think about your fingertips. We want to spread the hands out as much as possible to create the largest base, but we want to hold the mat with the fingertips a little. Press the base of the fingers where they reach the hands towards the mat. Particularly think about lengthening your thumbs, and remember that this outside part of the heel of the hand we're looking for about 60% of our weight down through there, something like that. I'm going to firm the belly, firm the buttocks, firm the pelvic floor rather, and tuck the toes under, and we're going to lift our knees off the floor as we push the chest back towards the bent legs. So bent legs to begin with. If you can, having your head between your upper arms, ears between your upper arms, and looking slightly backwards. If you've got really low blood pressure, look slightly forwards towards your thumbs, and that will help to alleviate sense of dizziness. Then we're going to ease one heel towards the mat as we lengthen that leg, and then bend that knee and ease the opposite heel towards the mat. So think about tipping your tailbone up towards the ceiling and lengthening through one leg at a time, walking your dog, walking from side to side with your legs. Your weight is not all in your hands, so you're pressing away from the mat so you can take the weight into the heels and lifting in the belly and drawing the shoulder blades maybe slightly down the back here as well. Neck very passive. You can even turn your head a little bit from side to side, which is really nice. Not holding for too long if this is your first time or if you're not familiar. So coming back down onto your hands and knees when you're ready, and resting in the pose of a child. So buttocks to heels, forehead to the floor, or crossing your arms, resting your forehead on top of your arms. Taking a couple of deep breaths here. And downward dog is going to be our posture that realigns the spine after every movement. So we're going to come up onto hands and knees, and we're going to do threading the needle, which is a twist from this position. So here we're in hands and knees, using the belly muscles. We're going to take the left hand and put it on the floor, back of the hand on the floor, between the right hand and the right knee, and slide the left hand towards the right side of the body. Bend the right elbow and take the left shoulder towards the floor, maybe even the head towards the floor. And then come back to center by pressing through that right hand and lifting, always maintaining this lift in the belly muscles. Do the same thing to the opposite side. So right hand onto the floor, back of the hand between the left hand and knee. Slide the right hand towards the left, take the right shoulder and perhaps the right side of the head to the floor. And then pressing through the left hand to come back up to center. So this is thread needle pose. There are several poses called that, which is most confusing, but this is the hands and knees version. So we're going to do that a little bit more. We're going to just do one side at a time now. So with the left hand on the floor, just gently breathe in the center, firm your belly muscles. Breathe out as you slide your hand through to the right side of the body. Breathe in back to center, firm in the belly. Breathe out, slide the hand through to the opposite side of the body. Breathe in and back to center. Breathe out, sliding through. Breathe in, back to center. Take a moment in the center. We're going to come into downward facing dog. So press into your hands, lift your knees, uncurl your legs, press your chest towards your thighs, and gently walk through your dog, taking the weight into the heels. If you want to hold your downward facing dog, you can. Scooping the belly in, lifting in the pelvic floor, rolling the shoulder blades down the back, keeping your head nice and neutral. Deep breath in, sigh out if you need to. And then when you're ready, coming back to hands and knees. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. So back of the right hand to the floor, breathe in the center, firm the belly. Breathe out as you slide your right hand to the left side. Breathe in, back to center. Breathe out, slide your left hand, drop your right shoulder down. Breathing in, back to center. And breathing out, slide. Lovely job. Breathe in, back to center. We're going to take a downward facing dog. Tuck the toes, press the chest towards the thighs, lifting the belly muscles. And you can walk, paddle the backs of the legs out as long as you need to, even if you never, ever, ever hold it with your heels towards the floor. And in downward dog, heels on the floor or gripping the floor is not a necessary part of the posture. And lots of people get very focused on that. They think their hamstrings are short or there's something wrong with their calf muscles. Actually, generally, it's to do with the flexibility of your ankle joint. So don't worry if that never happens. It's all good. We're going to drop our knees down and rest in the pose of a child for a moment. So forehead to the backs of the hands or forehead to the floor. Or if you want to, you can rest your arms down to the sides. Take a couple of deep breaths, releasing the wrists if you need to. Effort there. Sighing out through the mouth if you need to. When you're ready, you can gently roll yourself up into kneeling or come back up into hands and knees. I find that a lot of hands and knees work is quite tough for my wrists, so I like to roll out or release my wrists whenever I get the opportunity. Shake them out. So thread needle pose we can do also as a held pose, and I would encourage you to give that a go if your shoulder comes to the floor. So let me show. So when you're sliding your left hand through, if your left shoulder comes all the way to the floor and you can rest your head, then you can raise your right arm as well. Okay, and you don't have to raise it straight up. You can reach for the left hip behind you, if that feels good, or even the right hip, I guess. And then coming back to center. And then we can try that on the other side as well. So, but if your shoulder is away from the floor, it's not really going to be beneficial to then take the other hand away from the floor. You'll just collapse into your neck and that will be quite uncomfortable. So let's try that with the right side. So right shoulder, if it comes to the floor, and it might on one side rather than the other, you can really press that right shoulder to the floor, raising the left arm up. You can touch the opposite hip behind you, still with your belly muscles firm, and then releasing, coming back to center. Excellent stuff. Super. So now we've done thread needle pose, we're going to come back into downward dog and come forward into a lunge. So let us uncurl ourselves into downward facing dog. Take maybe a few paddles. Find that our core muscles are all working. Maybe just a gentle twist of the head from side to side as well. It's quite nice to release the neck, and a nod forwards and backwards. So from here, we're going to bring our feet together. So as you look towards your feet, feet together, and then breathe in as you step your right leg off the floor and lift it as high as feels comfortable, really firm in the buttock. really strong in the abdominal muscles as well. And then from here, we're going to bend the right knee into our chest, move the shoulders forward over the hands, and step the right foot to the place where your right hand, or just inside where your right hand was, and then drop your left knee down. So we come into this lunge type position. We're going to untuck the back leg, adjust clothing as needed, leave the left hand down, and then we don't want to let the hips sag all the way forward so that we've got no control. Here we want to be pressing into the front leg and feel like we're activating the back buttock, and that will help to stabilize the pelvis. We're just going to turn to the right as we raise the right hand. So we step the right foot forward, turning to the right as we raise the right hand, shoulder blades working together, belly muscles lifted, and you can turn your head as much as you feel comfortable to do. And then we're going to release this one down. We're going to tuck under the back leg, straighten the back leg, and come back into downward dog. You can come into a three-legged dog first if you like, uncurling your right leg up to the ceiling, and then reaching that right foot down. Making sure that in the center, you're aligned, your feet are together, you're lifting in the belly muscles and pressing the chest towards the thighs. And then breathing in as you lift the left leg up, firm in the buttock, firm in the belly muscles. Breathing out as you draw the knee into the chest, shoulders over the hands, and step the left foot forward. Dropping the left knee down. Make any adjustments you need to. You can tuck the back toe flat if you want to. You're really pressing into this front leg, so you're not sagging the knee towards the front of the mat. You're pressing into the front leg, squeezing activating the buttock of the back leg, and then turning to the left, raising the left arm up. And here we also want the left thigh to move towards the torso, so we don't want the left thigh to sag out to the side. And releasing down. Tucking under the back leg, uncurling the back leg, uncurling the left leg up towards the ceiling, and coming back into downward facing dog. So here we're going to drop the knees to the mat and just adjust the position of the hands a little. We're going to bring our hands a little bit closer together. Makes this, for some people that might be too challenging, but if you can, hands a little bit closer together. If not, you can adjust your hands as you go. So we're going to come back into downward facing dog. Feet are going to be together, and we're going to do a moving practice based on that movement that we just did. So a dynamic practice. So lifting in the belly muscles, lifting in the pelvic floor. Inhale the right leg up, strong work in the buttock. Exhale, bend the knee into your chest, but take the foot to the outside of the right hand. And then here, without bending the back knee down, we're going to look to the right, raise the right hand, twist to the right, and come back to center. Then we're going to step back into three-legged dog and drop the right foot to the floor in the center. Take a moment, and then belly muscles working. Breathe in, lift the left leg up. Breathe out, step your left foot to the outside of your left hand. Keep the back leg strong, buttock working. Breathe in as you twist to the left. Breathe out as you return to center. Breathe in, lift the left leg up. Breathe out, come back to downward facing dog. Breathe in, right side leg up. Breathe out as you step the foot forward. Breathe in as you twist, firm belly, firm buttocks. Breathing out as you return to center. Breathe in, three-legged dog, firm buttock, and breathe out back to center. Swap sides. Breathe in, left leg up. Breathe out, step left leg forward. Breathe in, firm belly, firm buttocks as you twist to the left. Breathe out, return to center. Breathe in, left leg up. Breathe out, downward facing dog. One more time each side. Breathe in, right. Breathe out, step forward. Breathe in, twist. Breathe out, return. Breathe in, three-legged dog. Breathe out, downward dog. Breathe in, left leg up. Breathe out, step forward. Breathe in as you twist. Breathe out as you return. Breathe in, three-legged dog. Breathe out, downward facing dog. Breathe in here. Breathe out, drop your knees to the mat. Relax your breath, relax your effort, and rest into the pose of a child. Take a few deep breaths. And when you're ready, I quite like to open the chest muscles after this. So interlacing your fingers behind your body, keeping your head down and lengthening into your arms, and then firming the belly muscles, pressing into the low legs to come up to kneeling. This beautiful stretch of the pectoral muscles. Actually more effective if you bend your knees, bend your elbows and draw the elbows towards each other. And then when you're ready, just relaxing, releasing your wrists if you need to, shimmying anything that needs shimmying, and then preparing for our next practice. So we really are doing absolutely everything today. Maybe not absolutely everything, but quite a few things. So this next posture it's a combination of like a baby wild thing, for those who know what wild thing is, and Jathara Parivriti, which is a seated forward bend. So we're going to come into a sitting position, and we're going to, so the classic Jathara Parivriti is with, not Jathara Parivriti, Janu Shirshasana, there we are. Classic Janu Shirshasana has the knee bent out to one side, one leg straight, one knee bent out to one side. But we want to create a little bit of room to move, and I don't want to grind my knee into the floor on the hard floor here. So I'm going to shift all the way to one side of my mat, so that my knee is supported on the mat as I move. And you'll see what I mean. So here, if this is not comfortable for your knee to be out to the side here, then this is probably not a practice that's going to suit you. But feel free to watch. We get almost as much out of watching as we do out of doing, so it's good to know. So here we want the buttocks to be lifted slightly out of the way, so you feel the bony bits in your bottom connecting to the floor. On your long left leg, in this case, you've got your toes pointing up towards the ceiling and the right knee out to the side. Now, some teachers will teach you to really square yourself towards that long left leg. But whilst we are twisting today, we're not going to worry too much about that. We're just going to let ourselves fall where we fall. So we're going to do a dynamic movement here. Watching is probably good, just for the first one. So to begin with, we're going to sit as tall as we can, firm in the belly, really lifting, arms wide. And we're going to breathe in here and then breathe out, sweep the right hand towards the left foot, bending a little bit forward. So you don't need to get there. It's not about the forward bend as such, it's about the movement of twist and fold in that direction. And then we're going to breathe in, take the right hand behind us and lift the hips as we sweep the left hand over and do our baby wild thing. So it's between these two movements, we're going to keep our breath going, but moving between these 2 points. Okay, so now that you know what it's going to be like, let's do the first few quite slowly. So sitting tall, breathing in, opening the chest, breathing out as you sweep the right hand towards the left foot, leaning slightly forward. You can reach your left hand behind you. Breathe in as you sit up again, and Breathe out as you take the right hand behind you, lift the hips away, press into the right hand, reach the left hand over. Breathe in as you sit down. Breathe out as you sweep the right hand towards the left leg. Breathe in, reach the right hand behind you. Breathe out as you lift your hips, open your chest. Breathing in as you sit. Breathing out as you fold and twist towards the front leg. Breathing in as you reach behind you. And breathing out as you open your chest. Breathing in as you sit tall. Breathing out as you twist and fold. Breathing in as you reach behind you. Breathing out as you open your chest. Breathing in as you sit tall. Breathing out as you twist and fold. Breathing in and reach behind you. Breathing out, open the hips and chest. One more. Breathing in as you sit tall. Breathing out as you twist and fold. Breathing in as you reach behind you. Breathing out. And we're going to hold here. So here, maybe you want to take the toes of the front leg to the floor. And you can really lift in the belly muscles and open your chest as much as you want to. You can reach your left arm all the way open so you feel like your arms are quite far apart. Deep breath in, deep breath out, and gently releasing back to sitting on the floor. Fantastic stuff. So we can swap ourselves to the opposite side. Maybe just taking a moment in the center to feel how that all felt. And we're now extending with the right leg, the left knee is bent in, and we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So take a moment here just to feel the effect of that work. If your right wrist is feeling a bit tender, you can give it a bit of a wobble or a wriggle. And then we're going to do, I can't remember how many we've done, so we'll just go with it. So again, just looking at the movement, it's to sit tall, reaching the arms wide, reaching the left hand towards the right leg, and then sitting tall in between, reaching the left hand behind us, reaching the right hand over, the hips come away from the mat, and opening the chest a little bit. You might find that as you progress, the movement becomes bigger. So reaching the left hand towards the right leg, reaching the left hand behind us, releasing the hips away from the floor, opening the chest, and coming back to sitting. So we'll coordinate it with our breath. Although I tend to keep my foot flexed on my long leg, you can actually take your foot to the floor as you lift the hips up if that feels more stable to you. Just remembering to keep your legs strong, your core muscles strong, and everything else will kind of fall into place. So let's breathe in, reach the arms wide and sit tall. Firm belly as we breathe out, taking the left hand towards the right leg. Breathe in as we reach the left hand behind us. Breathe out, release the hips up, open the chest. Breathe in, taking the hips back down, sit tall. Breathe out, fold, taking the left hand to right leg. Breathe in, reach left hand behind. Breathe out as you reach the chest and the hips off the floor. Breathe in, breathe out, fold. Breathe in, reach behind you. Breathing out, lift the hips, open the chest. Breathe in, sitting. Breathing out, folding. Breathing in, reach behind you. Breathing out, open the chest. Breathing in as you sit tall. Breathing out as you fold. Breathing in as you reach behind you. Breathing out, open your chest. We'll do one more. Breathing in, sit tall. Breathing out as you fold. Breathing in, reach behind you. Breathing out, open the chest and hold. Just for an extra moment, firm in the belly. You can even reach your right hand a little bit further to the right. You can turn your head in any comfortable position, really pressing into the bottom hand. And then when you're ready, just releasing the hips to the floor, I'm going to bend in our right knee as well, so that we finish sitting cross-legged. Fantastic stuff. So that's a really nice practice. It combines some of the movements that we've already done through this class, and it leaves us in the right position to do the seated spinal twist. Now, I noticed that I haven't got a block, but you can use a block for this one. So let me just reach to get one. Fantastic stuff. So a block or a book, it's not very much bigger than a thick book. And for a seated spinal twist, today we're going to, because this is a therapeutic practice, we're not going to do the more complicated versions of the seated spinal twist, Ardha, Matsyendrasana. We're going to do this, I would say, is a slightly softer twist. So the seated spinal twist is the most advanced form of twisting that we have in yoga, and it's the base position for that series of more advancing twists. And we're going to do a slightly softer version than the regular one. So if you want to sit all the way up on your block, and that will give your hips a little bit of room, particularly if you have a little tightness in the backs of the legs. Or you can sit towards the edge of your block. So what you have on the block is the fleshy part of your buttocks, and the bony bits of your bottom are actually on the floor. And what that does is it just gives you a little tip of the pelvis forward, which helps us to keep the spine in its best alignment and maintain its S-curves as we sit tall. There's forward to back S-curves, not side to side. So we're going to bend the right knee in first. Left leg remains long, and you can either have the right foot inside the left thigh or outside if you can. So here we want the hips to be on the floor the same. Don't want to have tipped ourselves to one side. Imagine that you're standing on the floor with that right foot. Your right foot should be on the floor as it would be if you were standing. You're going to sit really tall, draw the belly muscles in, lengthen into the crown of the head, and wrap the left hand around the right thigh and draw it towards us. So it could be just your hand, it could be your forearm, it could be your elbow, and some people twist even further than that. So let's maybe stick with this one for today, for demonstration purposes. So holding your right thigh towards you, feel that sense of a lift in your belly muscles to gently move your belly out of the way to be able to make a twist. So we're already a little bit twisted here to the side compared to our front. So we're going to keep that sense of central lift. Breathe in, reach the right hand forward and up. Look at your right hand as you place it down behind you. And on your fingertips or on the flat of your hand, press yourself forward. So don't lean back on that hand, pressing yourself forward so that you're directly over your hips. Take a deep breath in, and as you breathe out, use the leverage of both hands to move a little bit into that twist. Now it might be that you're feeling really comfortable in this twist, and it might be that things have started to sag. So draw your right thigh towards you, keep that right arm active, keep your belly muscles a little bit active, drop your shoulders away from your ears, keep the sides of the neck long, and allow your right elbow to come behind you a little bit if you feel like you've got more room, or you can take your right hand off the floor and reach for your left hip behind you as well. Turning the head to wherever feels comfortable. Take a long, deep breath in. Maybe close your eyes or gaze gently downwards as you breathe out. We're going to hold for another 5 deep breaths. After your next exhalation, turn to the front with only your head. So turning your head back to the left foot. And then release both hands, unwind your spine a little at a time, turning a touch to the opposite side. So a touch to your left side and back to center. Uncrossing both legs. Very good. In the center, you can take a moment bending both knees into your chest, maybe sitting all the way up on your block, and just allowing yourself to be in this sort of draping tuck position where we can allow our heads to relax as well. A little bit like a seated child's pose. Releasing with your exhalation if you need to. Lovely job. Then we can shimmy ourselves back into position. So you might have yourself right up on top of the block, or just with your fleshy parts there, bending in the left foot, taking the foot to the inside of the right leg, or if you can, the outside. That is preferred. Sitting really tall. Focus on that lift in the center from the belly all the way up to the crown of the head. Wrapping the right arm or hand around the left thigh and drawing it towards you, so you already have a sense of twist. Excuse me. Reaching the left hand forward, breathing in, lifting the left hand up, looking at the hand as it goes down behind you, pressing into the floor and just propping yourself forward, either on your fingertips, your palms. You might even use a block behind you if you wanted. With that sense of lift in your center, breathing in, and as you breathe out, use both arms to move into your twist. And it might be that you move your head a little bit more into the twist if you want to. Here, if you feel that you don't need the support of your left hand, you can wrap it around your body. And although we aren't doing any of the more advancing postures of this particular series, for those who are more adept, you can hold this in a bind if you would like to. If you don't know what that means, it means don't do it. Okay. So with the belly muscles firm and that sense of lift, closing your eyes and taking 5 deep breaths, really soft shoulders, firm bellies. Keep the left thigh close towards your torso. At the end of your next exhalation, open your eyes. Inhale as you turn towards the front, firm belly, just with the head rather, firm belly, and then gently unwind the spine, releasing the hands, turning a little to the opposite side, and back to center. Uncross your legs. Take a moment to bend your knees in and drape yourself forward over your legs. A little seated child's pose. A few deep breaths here, just becoming aware of how that feels in your back. It's nice to stretch the back muscles slightly forward after the strong contraction on the twisted side. And now I think it's probably a good time to draw our practice to a close. And we're going to do a yin twist to finish. So yin yoga is practiced in a slightly different way from our dynamic yoga, our sort of more powerful yoga, although it is powerful in its own right. The important thing with yin is that you hold whatever posture you hold it nice and steady. Whatever shape it is, nice and steady, and you can sustain it, and you can soften all of the effort that you made to get into it. So we're going to do a posture called broken wings. And for this posture, we lie on our tummies. And we reach our arms out to either side at shoulder height. Forehead to the floor. We're going to leave the left shoulder and hand on the floor and draw the right hand in towards our chest. And then we're going to bend the right knee and a little firmness in the belly to come into this posture. We're going to roll our right foot to the left side of our body. You can leave your head down on the floor if it's comfortable to do that. And the left arm stays nice and long and straight. And the right hand is there for support. So if you are really comfortable with this posture and you've done it lots of times before, you can roll a little bit more and you can actually reach your right hand behind you towards your left hand. Some people can even join them up. That's not me. But just feeling this openness in the front of the body, so different from the twist that we've just done seated. Using your right foot on the floor for support, you can roll your hips as far as feels comfortable, but remember we're going to hold wherever we get to for 5 long deep breaths, and you could actually hold this for 15 long deep breaths or 25 if you wanted. So closing your eyes or gazing at one point, relaxing your face, relaxing as much effort as you can. Softening the body into the floor. Long deep breaths. You might find that your breath is shorter because the place that we have the stretch in is towards the upper part of the lungs, where our breath tends to be more shallow. So at the end of your exhalation, just firming the belly muscles, gently rolling yourself back to center. So you might need to do that really slowly to release out. Very nice. And then take a moment in the center, making a pillow out of your hands. Softening your toes towards each other, heels apart. Maybe just shimmying your tailbone, wiggling your tailbone from side to side to release any tension from your back. So there's a second variation of this where we keep the left elbow bent. So you can try this. This is a bit more intense. So the one we just did was with the left arm long. If you have the left arm long at shoulder height and then bend the elbow at a 90-degree angle, and we can try that as a variation. So again, a little bit of touch of stability over the tummy muscles, pointing the right foot behind you and rolling towards the left. And you might find, I certainly do, that you don't go as far into this twist as you previously did, because it's much more intense. Oh, yes. So that's the openness here is in a different part of the body. We're just taking a couple of deep breaths here, maybe 3, 4, 5. If something feels uncomfortable, remember not to hold. Try to keep your top shoulder nice and soft, your face nice and soft. And then when you're ready to release, gently rolling back out again. And taking a moment in the middle to do that, toes together, or toes towards each other, heels apart, wiggling of your tailbone. Couple of deep breaths, releasing through your mouth if you need to exhale on this side. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side. So reaching your right arm out to the right, turning your head to the left, firming the belly muscles, bending the left foot, and then just gently rolling over towards that right side with your left foot. And you might find that you can reach your left hand over and it might feel comfortable just to have it up in the air. You don't want to leave it hanging if you're holding this for extended periods of time, but for 3 or 4 breaths, that would be fine. But otherwise, finding a nice little hold space for your left hand to be, and just finding the right position for your left leg as well. Wherever you get to, try to release all of the effort of your posture, particularly in your neck, your face, and take 5, or if you prefer, 10, 15, 20 deep breaths. Even if you're not inclined to make your breath as deep as normal, try to maintain that rhythm of breath, the same as you would have done in any of the other postures today. At the end of your next exhalation, a little firmness in the belly as you roll yourself back towards lying on your front and making a pillow out of your hands. If you prefer, just resting the forehead to the floor, you can. A little shimmy of the hips from side to side. A few deep breaths to release. Finally, we'll try that bent arm variation. So the right arm out at shoulder height, and instead of being straight, bending at right angles. Taking the right side of the head to the floor, bending the left knee and just rolling the left foot all the way towards the right side, or as far as you're able to. And we're just trying to open that space at the front of the right shoulder. Do you feel it? Taking a couple of deep breaths, trying to release as much effort as you can, particularly if it feels that much more intense. So softening, breathing deeply, relaxing your face. Trying to relax the tension from your legs, perhaps, as I've just done. You can come back to hold this a little longer if you really like it another time. But for now, firming the belly muscles and just gently rolling back to your neutral spot. And again, just toes towards each other, heels apart, shimmer your tailbone from side to side. Excellent. Few deep releasing breaths here. And you can remain on your tummy for relaxation if that suits you. If you do relaxation on your tummy, remember that you will need to take a child's pose at the end of your relaxation to stretch out in the opposite direction. If you're coming to do relaxation in an alternative position, coming into child's pose for a moment before coming into sitting and finding your way into a relaxation position. So in yoga, it's the breath and the relaxation that make it yoga. And without relaxation, it's just gymnastics. So the relaxation is the most important part of the practice for sure, because all of the movements that we've been doing, that releasing of tension, releasing of energy, creating smoother energetic pathways, releasing blockages, and developing long, deep breaths has had the effect of energizing our system, of spreading our energy out. And when we come to do relaxation, it all settles back into our center. And that is the part that makes yoga rejuvenating rather than exhausting. So when you come to do your relaxation, that's what happens. Your energy comes back into your center and you feel better for the rest of your day. So we're going to do that now. So finding a comfortable position. We've done an awful lot of work with the back. So if you have a bolster or some rolled up blanket or some cushions to put underneath the backs of your knees, then you'll find that that is a nice way to settle your back into relaxation posture. Alternatives, you could always do legs up the wall. It's a lovely alternative for relaxation. Or you can do a standard shavasana as well. So to come into relaxation, I'm going to bend my knees into my chest, roll down into the mat, keep the knees into the chest and just gently turn my head from side to side. Gentle release of the neck, particularly after that last broken wings practice. And you can do this gentle turn of the head with a much smaller movement if that suits you. And when you've released your neck, maybe just drawing your knees in and out or drawing circles with the knees, massaging that space at the low back. We're going to lengthen the legs over support, or alternatively, you can just have your feet on the floor with the knees bent, or relaxing your legs long on the floor in the classic relaxation pose, Shavasana. And then we're going to reach the arms wide and take the left arm over the right arm across the body to hold onto our shoulders behind us. And then as we do that, trying to lengthen out the back of the neck, find that space between the shoulder blades, softening towards the floor, taking a couple of deep breaths. And gently releasing the hands and allowing the arms to come wide again. We'll do the opposite way. So that's right arm over left arm to hug the shoulders. Maybe hugging around the back of the body if you can. Feel that, iron out those kinks in the upper back. Allow the back of the neck to lengthen. Take some deep breaths. And then gently releasing the arms. And you can put your arms anywhere for relaxation, maybe just releasing them away from the sides of the body, maybe right out at shoulder height. Some people even like them over their head. Choose whatever is the most restful for your shoulders, because now we're going to let go of all of our effort. Let's close the eyes. Take a deep breath in. Sigh as you exhale. Repeat 3 more times. A deep breath in. Let all of your effort go. Deep breath in. Let your muscles begin to relax. Deep breath in. Surrender down into your mat. Allow your breath to fall into its natural, spontaneous rhythm and fall away into silence. Take your awareness into your forehead. Feel it soften and spread. Feel the area around your eyes relaxing. Your mouth, tongue, jaw releasing. Move your awareness to the back of your body. Allow the whole of the back of your body to feel heavy, warm, supported, releasing down. Move your awareness to the front of your body. Become aware of the space over you, around you. Feel the touch of air on your face. The movement of your clothes on your skin as you breathe. The sensation of holding space in the palms of the hands. Move your awareness to your breathing. Gently deepen your breath, inhaling for the count of 3, and exhaling for the count of 3. Inhaling for 3, and exhaling for 3. Inhaling light, energy, harmony. Exhaling tension, fatigue, negativity. Inhaling light, energy, harmony. Exhaling tension, fatigue, negativity. Allow your breath to fall in this rhythm whenever you're aware of it. Relaxing a little deeper with every exhalation. Gently bring your awareness back to this time and this place. Breathe a little louder, a little deeper maybe. Bring your awareness into your hands and your feet, wiggling your fingers and toes, maybe rolling your wrists, rolling your ankles. The popping and the clicking is okay. Just let it be. When you feel ready, you can take a long deep breath in, stretch the legs, stretch the arms, stretch the body in any way that feels good. Maybe yawning to stretch your face. Bend your knees into your chest, hug them towards you. Make any movements that feel good. You can hug your legs and gently turn your head if you'd like to. You can massage out the spine by drawing the knees in circles or from side to side. Try keeping your eyes closed for as long as possible to feel that sense of containing your energy, containing this connection to your inner space. And then with your eyes gently closed, rolling to one side, spending a moment on your side. When you feel ready, coming into any comfortable seated position. Bringing the palms of your hands together, pressing them hard, rubbing them vigorously, getting lots of heat into the hands, movement into the arms, the shoulders, maybe a little bit pressing harder, rubbing faster. And then when they're warm, place the hands over the eyes. Feel that warmth soften and release the area around the eyes, that contact, linking into your palms a few times before you release your hands down as you open your eyes. Thank you for joining me for this twisting practice, therapeutic for scoliosis and for tension along the spine. I hope to see you again. Namaste, yogis.